everybody would enjoy. Corona disease, actually, we can define it. It's illness caused by a novel coronavirus called severe acute respiratory syndrome. Corona SARS is we are calling now. It was first identified with respiratory illness in China, and initially it was reported to WHO, World Health Organization, on December 31st, 2019. Excuse me, I would request all the members to please put your
Yes,
mics
I
on the
request
mute.
you please close your mics other than the speaker because some noise is there. Thank you.
So on January 30th, 2020, WHO declared COVID-19 outbreak a global health emergency, and in March 2020, the WHO declared COVID-19 a global pandemic. This virus was confirmed in Pakistan end of February 2020 when a student in Karachi was tested positive, and the student returned actually from Iran. So we can say that it was started in Pakistan in February 2020. Till today, we have been about 100, more than 176,000 patients, which are confirmed cases, and we have deaths more than 6,500. The province of Sindh is least effective, or we can say the recovery rate in Pakistan is in Sindh is more impressive than the rest of the provinces, while the death rate in Punjab is highest. So this was the actually current situation in Pakistan. I personally believe that the social and economic problems, they are linked together. So if we are having an economic problem, it would be ultimately convert into many social problems. So these are associated. So let's have a brief look on social and economic problems, and then we will try to find out some solution for the governments so that the impact can be minimized. So in social problems, we can say the first one is political impact. Political government in Pakistan was criticized for being inactive during the lockdown and easing the lockdown for Eid festival shopping. The political credibility of the government is still under discussions due to some non-serious decisions. Similarly, in other countries, things happened same, like the Treasurer of Australia was unable to keep a pledge to maintain a fiscal surplus due to the effect of the coronavirus. Similarly, in the United States, President Donald Trump was criticized for his non-serious response towards this disease. Government of Islamic Republic of Iran have been heavily affected by the virus. I mean, around 24 members of the government, they were seriously infected. So it have large political impacts. And if we talk about the civil rights and democracy, then there were certain countries like Iran, Jordan, Morocco, Oman, Yemen, etc. So they banned the printing and distribution of newspapers, so which was violation of the many civil rights. Similarly, we have educational impact. Educational system worldwide leading to the widespread closure of schools, universities. The data released by UNESCO in March says that school and university closures due to COVID-19 were implemented nationwide in 165 countries, including localized closure, which affected over 1.5 billion students worldwide. Similarly, it impacted unevenly, means the rich people were affected less, and the low income individuals are more likely to contract the coronavirus and to die from it due to crowded housing and low skilled jobs. Similarly, many low income workers in service jobs have become unemployed. So the problems, poor are facing more problems than the rich. Then religious impact, mosques and churches faced to closure because of the coronavirus. So many churches, synagogues, mosques, and temples, they started offering live streaming lectures. Then we have psychological impact. The World Health Organization issued a report related to mental health and psychological issues by addressing instructions and some social considerations during the COVID-19 outbreak. The coronavirus have been followed by a potential spike in suicides, which is due to social isolation and quarantine and social distancing guidelines. People have fear of losing their jobs, etc. So it have large psychological impact. So ultimately, the economic problems, which is my more interesting area, the area in which I'm more interested. This virus spread around the globe. Concerns have shifted from supply side manufacturing issues to decreased businesses in the service sector. The pandemic caused the largest global recession in the history, with more than a third of the global population at the time being placed on lockdown. Supply shortages are expected to affect a number of sectors due to panic buying, increased use of food to fight the pandemic, and distribution to factories. Uh, Disturbance in the production side worldwide. Then we are expecting inflation worldwide, so which is also going to affect, and especially the inflation related to pharmaceutical things. So and grocery items, I think it would affect more than any other supply side. Global stock market fell on February 2020 due to significant rise in the number of COVID cases. Similarly, in February 20, stock markets worldwide saw their largest single week decline after 2008. And global stock markets crashed in March 2020. So we are actually facing a series of problems, economic problems. As the pandemic spreads, global conferences, events across technology, fashion events, all been cancelled or postponed. While the monetary impact on the travel and trade industry is yet to estimated, we are expecting that it would be in billions or maybe in trillions. The economy of Pakistan faced devastating impact from the coronavirus outbreak. We are a developing country, so probably we are among those countries who are going to be affected more. Weak social protection and low investment in healthcare meant that most citizens were vulnerable to pandemic condition at the time of outbreak. Forecasts of the economic loss from the 3 months lockdown, which was subsequently eased in the May, indicated that Pakistan would face its first annual economic recession since 1952. So we have limited resources to implement things, but thanks to the civil society and charity organizations, they seemed more active during all the lockdown and all the disaster. The output will further shrink, and rise of unemployment and poverty are likely to observe if government is not going to take some serious actions. Almost all economies of the world are shrinking and ready to face a big recession. I would say maybe it would be greater than the Great Depression of 1930s. Let's talk about some possible solutions. We have to learn from the world. So let's have a brief look at that. Who is doing what? As there was an economic world before Corona, and obviously there would be a world after Corona. But if we want to live in the after Corona world, then we have to survive first. And means we have to minimize the economic damages too. The sooner the Pakistani government will know the new economic challenges to survive this economic downturn, the better it would be for our chances to survive the steps already taken by the West. So let's have a look at what they have done. So there is a long list. Probably I would discuss 17 amendments that they have suggested to ease the businesses and to reduce the economic impact of this. Before we discuss these 17 steps or the 17 recommendations, we have to keep in mind that they are primarily focusing on two things. The first one is a resolution providing the financial contribution for self-employed persons with daily flexible jobs, and all nursing staff or nursing help means the staff that helps the nurse. These all are self-employed. So the resolution guarantees them a minimum of 50% wages by the government. Now in Pakistan, this would be the category we generally refer to daily wages. Then the second thing is more comprehensively, European government and all concerned departments in European Union have agreed on measures aimed to protecting jobs in companies, employers, and saving the companies from being bankrupted. So ultimately, it would save the economies of European Union. So let's have a brief look on the summary of 17 measures. The first one is, if the self-employed or SME are late in paying their loans to the banks, the state will compensate them by contributing half of the default's interest amount and half of the contractual penalties in both ways. The second one, if the self-employed or the SMEs in energy and network service providers are delaying in paying utility bills and other inputs from network suppliers, the state have to compensate half of the default's interest amount and half of the contractual penalties. The third thing is, the state will ensure the entrepreneurs have access to cheap interest loans. Cheap means the interest whether should be at 0% or maximum 1.5%. It should not be more than this. Fourth is, state will or can intervene in case banks and insurance companies do not show leniency and helpfulness towards debtors in rescheduling non-performing loans. So the time period for this concession would be January from January 2020 to December 2020. Similarly, the fifth point is postponement of social insurance premium without penalty by at least 3 months. Sixth is, I'm actually going through them very quickly. The sixth one is postponement of health insurance premium without penalty. Seventh is total waiver of social security contributions paid by the employers. It would be for approximately 3 months. Then number 8, the total value added tax waiver for business from March to June 2020. And then number 9 is speeding up the refund of excessive value added tax that have already been submitted by the businesses and now they are claiming. So it should be speed up. Up to 50% contribution of self-employed persons, possibly means the person who were already doing their own businesses, they were self-employed, and nowadays they are not having their businesses. So government would compensate 50% of their earnings. General cancellation of any requirements on advance income tax or advance insurance payments for both SMEs and self-employed till end of September 2020. 12 is date of income tax filing extended by 6 months. And number 13 is they have waived off the local charges, levies, taxes for the time being. Number 14 is a 50% relief in income tax on companies producing the necessary protective medical or pharmaceutical things related to the disease. And number 15, zero value added tax on accommodation services that help in keeping the suffering patients. Number 16, postponement and waiver of all SMEs and self-employed on any rent that is paid to the municipalities. The last one is to enable all companies to set up a data box for direct electronic communication with state authorities. A simple email would work, and then the data would be shifted to a data box in order to stop the frauds. So these were the 17 measures that have been suggested by the European Union. By keeping in mind all these measures, let's try to suggest some solution for an economy like Pakistan. And
You have
probably it would
three minutes more.
also,
And
sure,
very
sure.
slowly.
Uh, I remember that without government intervention, nothing can change. So we have to focus on the aggregate demand and aggregate supply, both sides. To increase the aggregate demand, government should enhance the public sector expenditures that would ultimately increase the earning of individuals, and aggregate demand would increase. For aggregate supply, government have to facilitate the businesses. We should also keep in mind that these two things should be on priority basis. Then I have some suggestions. Maybe some of them sounds funny for you. The first one is immediate action to reduce the size and footprints of the government. I mean, to start with slashing pays and perks by 50% for all parliamentarians, appointees, advisors, etc. And also rationalize the perks for the bureaucracy for next 12 months. Second is we can negotiate with IMF for another 2 billion loan without interest, deferred interest rates. Similarly, we can also negotiate with some other agencies for deferred loan payments. Local interest rate in Pakistan should be reduced to 6 to 7% maximum by September 20. And exporters should be facilitated, and government should special focus on this, and also help instruct the embassies to help the exporters. Take immediate control of foreign currency outflows. All unnecessary imports need to be stopped. Unnecessary imports I'm talking about, and all production which are consuming more than 25% of imported components, they should also be banned for the time being. Strict monetary supply side flows and stricting to ensure markets stay calm and equilibrium. Similarly, government should have a control on the FBR and NAB, and should control them for needlessly harassing the people. A recent example is that in Kasur, a company complained that they have a case of 14 years back tax return, and they are receiving multiple notices within last couple of months. So such things should be stopped. Then suspend documentation drive till June, at least end of June 2021. Let's postpone the documentation of the economy, because the undocumented economy is already helping in providing jobs, philanthropy services. So let's forget for another year to bring them under control. It might help a lot. Similarly, government should reduce the sales tax to 7%. It would reduce the production cost of production. And lastly, stop bleeding in state-owned enterprises. Give them on lease for next 10 years or so. So these were a couple of solutions I have discussed, but keep in mind we have a contrary side of the pandemic also. The contrary side is when it is followed up by a so-called big reset with less consumerism and more quality time for the personal contacts. So we can give more time to our families and friends now. So that's all from my side.
Thank you very much. I want to add something that the world says that the biggest scientist is that one who discovers something but living with the family. So that is a
Yes,
really important. So
this is my conclusion.
yes, thank you very much. Here is any question from the audience to Dr. Shahzad regarding economy and Pakistani perspective regarding COVID-19 and post-COVID-19? Anyone? Is there?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum
Yes,
assalam.
Kuratulain here. Yes, I want to ask one question from you. So basically, can you tell that how do you analyze the role of WHO in guiding the world's nation to fight COVID globally in a befitting manner to reduce the effects on people's on an economy?
Can you repeat, please? I think your
I'm
mic
just
has some
asking.
problem. Mhm.
Yes, okay, sure. How do you analyze the role of WHO in guiding the world's nation basically to fight COVID globally in a befitting manner to reduce its effects on the economy?
Just listen. Please speak
Why
with
you
the
want me to
distance of
criticize
mic.
the WHO?
Please give a mic distance, then
Okay,
speak.
yes. Yes,
The
whether it's clear now? Yes.
yes, I
Okay,
understand your
fine.
question. The first thing is that why you want me to criticize the World Health Organization?
No, I don't want.
Actually, World
I
Health,
don't want. I'm just yes.
World
Yes,
Health
okay, carry on.
Organization, yes. The people who are running the World Health Organization are very normal, like you and me are. So they work on the
Okay, fine.
information provided by the researchers. So sometimes we researcher, unfortunately, we provide very fake results. I hope you recently you have came to know that couple of researchers they produced fake research. So sometimes they have to rely on such research. WHO is trying its best to you can say guide the common man and to guide the governments, but they have to be very careful while giving the policy recommendations or uh, uh, policy explaining the policy regarding any disease.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm very happy to listen the very constructive and very logical talk on the Pakistan economy and your suggestions as well. Some are I am looking at a very difficult, especially government perspective. So let's move on. We welcome Dr. Swati from India. She is she's very talented and she's very active social worker as well. And his basic work is also from the social work and social areas. And I hope so from the previous all session, this session will be very different because here we are going to talk not about the economy, we are here to talk about the society, the social work like that. So here we learn some different perspective as compared to previous ones. So I welcome to Dr. Swati again and request you please start your session and give us some new ideas about applied research relevant to COVID-19. I will request you, if you don't mind, we can connect again because there is going to end a session and will be disturbance if we will continue this one like that. Please don't mind.